We're living in the most connected era in human history. We have thousands of friends on social media, instant messaging, and constant video calls. Yet, we've never been lonelier. Why is that? Why does a room full of people often feel like the loneliest place on earth? Today, we're diving into the psychology of loneliness. Not the temporary feeling of being alone, but the chronic, crushing isolation that's becoming a global epidemic. I'm Maria, a family psychologist, and in my 8 years of practice, I've seen how loneliness can destroy a person from the inside out. It's not just a social problem, it's a mental and physical health crisis. Let's explore why we're alone together and what it's actually doing to our minds and bodies. Is our digital connection actually destroying our real intimacy? We'll look at the case of Sarah, the biological toll of chronic isolation, the evolutionary purpose of loneliness, and why vulnerability is the only way out. Loneliness is a choice we make every day, often without realizing it. It's the quietest epidemic of our time, and it's time we started talking about it. Let's begin. Meet Sarah, 34 years old, successful career, beautiful home, active social life, on paper. But Sarah is drowning in loneliness. She spends her evenings scrolling through the lives of others, feeling more and more invisible. She has friends to get drinks with, but no one who really knows her. She's mastered the art of the performance, the happy photos, the witty captions, but when the lights go out, the silence is deafening. Sarah attended a charity gala last week, surrounded by hundreds of people, and yet she felt like a ghost. She's connected to thousands, yet known by no one. Sarah's story isn't unique. It's the reality for millions who have everything but feel they have no one. Loneliness isn't about being alone, it's about not being seen. It's the feeling that if you disappeared tomorrow, no one would truly notice the gap you left. That is the core of the loneliness epidemic. It's the silent scream in a crowded room. We have replaced real, messy human connection with curated digital fragments, and the result is a profound sense of emptiness. Sarah is successful, Sarah is beautiful, and Sarah is completely, utterly alone. She lives in a world of high-definition highlights and low-resolution intimacy. She is the face of a generation that has more contacts than connections. And the tragedy is, she thinks she's the only one. But Sarah, if you're watching, you are far from alone in your loneliness. Chronic loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a health crisis. Research shows it can be as lethal as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases the risk of heart disease, dementia, and stroke by 30%. But the cognitive cost is even deeper. Our brains are wired for connection. It's a survival mechanism. When we're chronically lonely, our brains enter a state of hypervigilance, constantly scanning for social threats. We become more sensitive to rejection, more prone to anxiety, and we start to pull away even further as a way to protect ourselves. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. The more lonely we feel, the harder it becomes to reach out. We start to believe we're unlovable or broken, when in reality, our brains are just starving for real human interaction. We are social animals being forced into a digital cage. Think about that. Your brain is literally changing its chemistry because of isolation. It's pushing you into a survival mode that actually makes it harder to connect. You're not just sad, you're in a biological state of alarm. And until we recognize loneliness as a health issue, we'll never be able to heal the underlying social wounds. We need each other to survive, yet we're being taught that independence is the ultimate goal. It's a lie that's killing us. Chronic loneliness causes inflammation, weakens the immune system, and literally accelerates the aging process. It's not just in your head, it's in your cells. We are social creatures, and when we are deprived of connection, we begin to wither. It's a biological imperative that we cannot ignore. To be human is to be connected. To be alone is to be in danger. To understand loneliness, we have to look at our past. For our ancestors, being part of a tribe wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity for survival. If you were cast out, you died. Loneliness evolved as a biological alarm system, much like hunger or thirst. Hunger tells you to eat, thirst tells you to drink, and loneliness tells you to connect. It was meant to be a temporary signal to push you back toward the safety of the group. But in our modern world, we've broken the feedback loop. We feel the alarm, but we don't have the tribe to return to. We live in vertical villages, apartment buildings where we don't know our neighbors. We work in open offices where we never speak to our colleagues. The alarm is constantly ringing, but there's no fire to put out and no tribe to find. We've optimized our lives for individual success, but in doing so, we've ignored the very signal that kept us alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Loneliness is your body's way of telling you that you're in danger. not from a predator, but from the absence of belonging. It's an ancient signal in a modern world that doesn't know how to answer it. We are the first generation of humans to try to live without a community, and the experiment is failing. The digital world offers us an illusion of connection. We get dopamine hits from likes and comments, but these are surface-level interactions. They lack the biological depth of real intimacy, the eye contact, the shared breath, the subtle body language that tells our nervous system, you are safe. We've replaced deep, messy human relationships with curated digital versions. We're afraid of being vulnerable, so we hide behind screens. But you can't have intimacy without vulnerability. By avoiding the risk of rejection, we're also avoiding the possibility of true belonging. We're trading our souls for convenience, and the price is our collective mental health. We are connected to everyone, but known by no one. Every notification is a false promise of intimacy. We scroll and scroll, hoping for a connection that can only be found in the physical presence of another human being. We have become consumers of people rather than participants in their lives. We've optimized our social lives for speed and volume, but lost the depth that makes life worth living. It's time to realize that a like is not a hug, and a comment is not a conversation. We are drowning in information and starving for wisdom and for each other. Digital intimacy is like eating candy when you're starving. It gives you a temporary rush, but leaves you even more malnourished in the end. We need the protein of real face-to-face interaction to truly survive. It's time to stop scrolling and start seeing. So how do we fix it? We need to move beyond connection and find belonging. Connection is easy. Belonging is hard. Belonging requires you to be exactly who you are, without the mask, without the performance. It requires the courage to be imperfect in a world that demands perfection. It starts with honesty. Admitting you're lonely is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of humanity. It's the first step toward building a bridge to another person. We need to cultivate micro-connections, the small daily interactions with the barista, the neighbor, the colleague that remind us we are part of a larger whole. We need to prioritize active listening and deep vulnerability. It's about being the first one to say, I'm struggling or I need help. When we share our pain, we give others permission to do the same. And in that shared vulnerability, loneliness begins to dissolve. Belonging is a practice, not a destination. It's something we build, one honest interaction at a time. It's about finding the people who see you, not the version of you on your profile, but the real, messy, beautiful human being you are. And it starts with being brave enough to show up, really show up, without the armor, without the screen, just you. So my final question to you is, when was the last time you felt truly seen? When was the last time you had a conversation that left you feeling nourished rather than drained? Loneliness is a choice we make every time we choose comfort over connection. It's time to put down the device, look at the person next to you, and start there. Admitting you're lonely is the bravest thing you can do. It's the invitation that connection is waiting for. I want to hear your stories in the comments. Let's start a real conversation here, right now. Put down the phone. Walk away from the screen and go find your tribe. They're waiting for you. Connection is a muscle. It needs exercise. Let's start training today. Subscribe for more deep dives into the human mind. I'm Maria, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be brave enough to connect. Truly connect. Goodbye.